My name is Paul Bodine. I run a company called LA Maids, and we are a referral agency. And what that means is that we don't have employees in the company. We have independent contractors, and that's a pretty important distinction in our industry. And with some of the other things we'll talk about, we'll get into why that's important and why people would choose LA Maids over other options that they might have. So having independent contractors allows us to provide a variety of different types of skill sets. So what we're good at is taking the customer's requirements, really digging into what's important to them. And they may not all be technical. They may not all be specifically about cleaning. It could be the personality, it could be language, it could be a number of things that outside of just the actual work that the crew is going to do. So we take all that consideration and we look at our people that we have working for us, our independent contractors, and we try to match the right crew to the customer's requirements. Okay, well, other than being a referral agency, because that's a pretty big distinction, one of the things that we do, I think, much better is we simply answer our phone. A lot of the companies now are going to online ordering, and it astounds me that people would actually just order a maid's service to send people, strangers, into their home, just ordering it online, but they do. We don't think that's the best way to go about it. We think that you should be able to talk to a human being throughout the whole process, from ordering the service or even just requesting an estimate, to actually ordering, to calling in to find out, hey, they're not here yet, what can you give me an update on their ETA, things like that. To have the whole thing online I think is a really, it's a mistake from a customer service standpoint. So that's one of the big distinctions is you can get a hold of our people 24 hours. No, not 24 hours. You can get, during our business hours, you can get a hold of our people with 1 or 2 rings usually. They'll pick up the phone and answer your questions. Well, I think one of the things that they should ask up front is, do you have employees, or are you a referral agency? Are you working with independent contractors? Just to make sure that they make that distinction, because some people need to understand what it is that we're offering and why it's different, why it's better. Another thing is to have a clear idea of what they're really looking for. They should have, and if they don't, then they should ask us, well, what are the things that I should know about your service? What are the things that do you have, and what are the things that we should be aware of in terms of when choosing a maid service? So we'll walk them through that. The other thing that they might ask is, do you have a checklist? Do you have a ready-made checklist I can just go through, kind of prompt my own thinking in terms of what it is I'm looking for and what it is I need so I don't miss anything. And so I understand the entirety of what I'm looking for, and that you can give me a correct estimate based on what it is that I'm looking for. Okay. Another thing might be, how do you vet your workers? What kind of background check do they go through? How long have they been with you? How many complaints have they gotten? What kind of complaints have they gotten? Things that might have to do with, quite frankly, something that has to do with honesty or dependability. Has anybody complained about missing items in their home? How was that resolved? Things like that. So those are all questions that are kind of background questions that are really important if you're going to have somebody coming into your home. Well, going through some of the comments and reviews and just things that people have said about us over the years, some of the things that have popped up were that we go above and beyond. That comment comes up a lot. Actually, in those exact words, above and beyond, very accommodating. And I think that goes to the flexibility of how we work. We're not really strict and rigid in terms of how we present our service. We're really trying to understand what the customer wants, and we're able to create a customized package for them that's really centered around what their needs are. And sometimes those things can be kind of strange requests. One of them, I think that they had to pick up some, they said, well, can they stop by and pick up some Drano? I guess they had a backed up sink or something. And the crew did it. It was not a big deal. They just stopped by a store, and we figure out ways to accommodate reasonable requests as much as possible. So that was a big one that came up quite a bit in the comments. Friendly, courteous, professional. The word professional comes up in a lot of our comments and reviews. And I think that goes back to the training of our in-house staff. They actually go through a sales training process daily. We give them 30 minutes to go through some either audios, or they can read a book on sales or customer service. So they're constantly improving themselves. They're constantly focusing on best practices so that it improves their interaction with our customers. And it comes across, and people notice that difference compared to other companies that they've used. Well, it's really simple. We started this business. My wife who's my partner, has a little bit of background in janitorial and other businesses before. I didn't have any specific long-term experience in business. I'd worked in corporate America for 30 years. But I did know sales and marketing, so I was able to apply that to a very successful effect in our business. But we kind of figured this whole thing out over the last 10 years, and I knew I wanted to create a system. I know businesses work best with a system, so that was something that I just wanted to do for ourselves, so that we could provide that consistency. But as we set this thing up, we realized, I think we've got to the point now where we could probably take the way we do things and just pretty much turn it over to somebody who wants to own a business, whether they know anything about this particular business or not, and we can show them how we do it, and they're going to be up and running, probably in 6 months to a year. They'll have a profitable business. So when we realized that we could do that for other people, we thought, well, why not? Why not expand that way, and not only expand our own reach, but also let other people benefit from the opportunity. Of becoming a franchise starts with expressing interest, contacting us, and letting us know, hey, I'm looking at a business opportunity, finding out the strengths and the relative offering that we have compared to maybe other things that are out there, because obviously we're not working in a vacuum, to find out how what we're offering and the way we work and the way we're going to roll this thing out meets their needs, whether it's financial or just the way that the business works. How it's going to impact their life. So that's kind of like the research phase. Once an individual decides that, hey, this sounds like a pretty good opportunity, we would provide them with a franchise disclosure document, which goes into all the details, the costs, all the things that they need to consider in terms of the business. And then from then we'll go out and meet with the person at their location, sit down and have them ask any kind of questions that they need to ask, look at their background, determine whether or not it's a good fit for both of us, whether they're a good fit for us, we're a good fit for them. And if everything lines up, then we're off to the races. And we're very much able to walk them through every detail. So an individual who's looking for a franchise opportunity with LA Maids doesn't particularly need to have any specific background in terms of business necessarily. There are some financial requirements. They're very competitive, probably easier to get into an LA Maids franchise than most of the franchises they might be looking at in terms of the financial requirements. But in terms of the business aspect, it's a pretty turnkey package. So if they just have common sense, if they're not afraid to put in the effort and be attentive and to manage and to look at what's going on in their business, take our advice. We've been doing this for a while, so we know how to guide them. If they're teachable. If they're teachable and honest and not afraid to work, they're probably going to be able to make this opportunity work for them. Because a referral agency we're basically a staffing agency, so that's an important point to make. You're buying an LA Maids franchise, you're basically buying a staffing agency business. That's the business that we're in. I mean, if you're going to put your code, all those codes, you would actually pick staffing agency or temporary employment agency. So that's actually the business that you're buying. You're not buying a cleaning business. And so that obviously you're working with people who are not employees, they're independent contractors. So our job is really to market, to find the customer demand, and then we also market to find the labor, or the independent contractors. For any individual who's interested in learning more about the LA Maids franchise opportunity, you can go to our website, franchiselamaids.com, or you can call us. You can call me directly, Paul Bodine, at LA Maids Franchising, and that number is 310-491-7915. My direct extension is extension 2. You can call. Most of the time I'll answer, but if not, leave a voicemail. Or you can also text that number as well. So email, text, call, and we'll talk. Have a conversation about what you're looking for. If it sounds like it's a good fit, we'll send you the franchise disclosure document. You can see all the nitty-gritty and see whether you want to proceed.